Well, hello again, Maverick traders, and welcome back to your currency recap. This is Ankit here, and happy new year to all of you. Hope everyone had a good holiday season, and now it's time to get back into the routine and really get back active in the market. So let's just start with our quick recap for the markets. It's a Tuesday, January the 2nd. Let's see how things turn out, and we'll talk about what we're expecting in the next 20, 40, 48 hours. So let's get into it.
Disclaimer. This video was created for professional stock and option traders. Maverick Trading is a proprietary trading firm that employs professional traders around the world. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits they generate. All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. If you are interested in becoming a professional trader for Maverick, click the apply button in the video description. Let's break down what happened today.
So looking at our market analysis today, let's just start with the headlines. So what we have in the last few weeks has been, pretty much a one-way market where the equity's been going up and the dollar and the yields are falling. So what we got today was a bit of a retreat of that trade, where the market did pull back and the dollar and the US bond yields sort of rebounded from the last few days. So again, that's a big sort of a change today that we haven't seen in the last couple of weeks at least. So that's where we are. Let's take a look at what was the best and the worst performer. And starting with the currency basket, you can see the dollar was the leading currency today at 0.90%. And what was the weakest today was the Swiss franc, which again has been doing really well in the last few weeks. And we had the Kiwi being weaker as well. Outside of that, you can see that euro, pound, there, a lot of things were kind of in the middle there. The real trade today was the US dollar. The yen staying strong as well, but what we are noticing is the dollar sort of reclaiming some of the grounds that it lost. Would it last? We'll find out. But we are in a recovery. Mode for now. Now, let's take a look at other markets and see what else is happening. Let's start with the equity markets. So you can see the equity markets started off on a negative note across the board. S&P down 0.57%, World Stock Index down 0.86%. Crypto overall was down, even though the Bitcoin market is doing really well. But overall, it's not the same across the board. Gold did pull back, and so did the oil. So pretty much everything sort of retreat today. And that really sums up the day. The crypto market, you can see the Bitcoin was the outperformer, shining with 1.31% here for the day, where the Ethereum is up 0.25. Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin, as we have discussed, not the one that is showing that consistency. So let's take that information and take a look at the charts. What's changed? When we see an extension of a move that we have seen in the past few weeks, we are expected to see pullbacks. And this is exactly what it is. We are still above the 20 and we're still above the 50. So what we are getting, this is a pullback. Now, if this gets towards the moving average here and sort of goes sideways and rebound, then that's just a bull pullback. Now, if this sort of route pulls back and continues to move lower, now that's where we need to change our score. But right now, nothing has changed. It's just a pullback. I mean, it might last another day. We'll find out, but that's really where we are right now. Now, looking at the schedule here, you can see there was nothing on the schedule. Starting tomorrow, we are going to get some economic data, especially out of the U.S. Here we are, FOMC meeting minutes. We have the JOLTS job opening. This moves the markets and moves the dollar as well. And then we have Thursday and Friday, as you can see, where we have more data, especially Friday, we get the U.S. jobs report. So nothing really today. And now we need to focus on economic data and see how this influences the movements in the dollar and in the equity market. So let's get into our currency analysis. And looking at our velocity scores here, you can see that the dollar was at a +3 today. Yen, I really like it overall, but today was not yen's day, but yen is still holding it much better, sitting at a +2. Now, what's the weaker one? Well, Kiwi pulled back today and is showing relative weakness. Euro and pound, I like them more to the downside than in the upside, but they're just slowly moving lower instead of an aggressive move down. The Swiss franc, you can see, was the best performer in the last 2-3 weeks, and it did pull back as well. But overall, relatively speaking, euro looks definitely more weaker. Now, in the middle, we have the CAD and the Aussie. And really, the CAD has deviated a little bit from the USD. So right now, just hanging in there. So let's just focus on the trending score. Let's compare what we see today is how it fits the scheme in the trend score. And right now, what we're getting is the outperformer are turning into an underperformer. For example, the Swiss franc turning into an underperformer, where the dollar has been an underperformer, is turning up a little bit an outperformer. So those are the only changes that are happening. But outside of that, just realize that some of the currencies are pretty much one way. That the euro is still pretty weak. Pound is still pretty weak. So we need to continue focus on that theme as well. So let's just jump into our currency trading view and take a look at some charts and talk about some of these setups here.
Do you want to be a professional trader? Maverick Currencies is the oldest US-based Forex and crypto prop trading company that will pay you for trading with our capital. Trade our capital and keep 70 to 80% of the profits. We are looking for traders just like you that are hardworking and motivated. Click the apply link on the top right of this video to see if you have what it takes. That link takes you to a 4-minute video that explains the trader position available, and you read a list of FAQs that answer pretty much all the basic questions you have at this point. After watching the video and reading the FAQs, if you're interested, fill out an application, then you'll watch the full-length recruiting video, and then schedule an interview with one of our traders. Are you our next trader?
And looking at the charts, let's just start with the USD. So I just want to highlight how one-way move has been for the last couple of weeks at least. You can see that pretty much since the mid of the month, we have been nothing but going sideways for the most part. So you can see how this 13-day EMA has been moving it along and keeping it pressure downwards right here. So you can see that now that's gone above. So what we are in is in a recovery mode. How long this will last, well, we don't know yet. But right now, there's no signs of topping yet. Because if you take a look at the rally today, we are still at the highs of the day. I mean, we just kept running today. So I think the dollar has still a little bit more room to run, just to gain a little bit more ground. The Japanese yen, on the other hand, is relatively pretty good. So we need to also focus on some of the yen crosses. I know the Swiss franc was the best performer. I'm not really a big fan of it right now. On the daily chart, you can see it did break out and just pulling back a bit here. But take a look at the euro. This is the currency that I'm really looking to see once it breaks below. And you can see that there will be a nice little opportunity here. So keeping a close eye on that one. And we have the British pound, which is kind of doing the exact same thing. I mean, take a look at this daily chart. And you'll find out that we're just hovering around that support. So we definitely want this more to the downside than the upside. Now let's take a look at the CAD, because I know I had a lot of questions with CAD, but you can see CAD is just going sideways. Usually it moves along with the Canadian, with the US dollar. It's not clearly doing so. So until it really changes, let's just put this on the shelf. We'd rather trade things that are moving. Now, Australian dollar, it did had a nice last couple of weeks, but it's kind of stalled a little bit here. So we're not really seeing the Aussie currently flying here. So we're going sideways here. It did pull back a little bit. I think if it pulls back a little bit further, then the Aussie might be at risk here. But look at the Kiwi. Kiwi is already breaking lower. If it breaks below the parabolic SAR, we might be looking at a bit more to the downside than the upside here. So it's really clear on what's moving, and I think that's really where we need to be continue focusing on. Now, if you take a look at the dollar, the currency pairs, I mean, I still like the euro dollar if the dollar stays strong. You can see that it has a nice move down today. Now, the big question I always get is that what time frame? Again, this is where we need to realize, okay, how long I'm going to hold the trade for. You can see that it was a nice move down. It broke below, and it's just sitting at the lows of the day. So I think some of the dollar crosses will continue moving or extend the move from today. Now, the first test will be the US data. That starts with tomorrow. I think the dollar is going to move on that, higher or lower. We'll find out. But just based on the charts, you can see that both the pound dollar, euro dollar are sitting at the lows of the day. Take a look at the dollar Swiss franc sitting at the highs of the day. So whenever you get a price action like that, it just tells you that it has more room to run. It's not really showing signs of topping yet. So you really have to decide. Which camp you're really on. Are you looking to play the trend score? Then maybe want to sit out for now because we don't know the dollar is going to go. If you're trying to play a short-term move, I think right now, dollar long, it seems to be a better move. You also need to pay attention to the bond yields. So bond yields, you can see that everything is rising, and the bond yield sort of recovered a little bit today as well, especially if you go 2-year, 5-year. That's a 4-hour chart. I mean, it has a little bit more room for recovery, and if it does, I think that will help only help the dollar here. So watch out for the dollar short in the next couple of days. News events will likely move the market. So I think the market is going to focus back on the economic data. U.S. yields and the U.S. dollar, they're in recovery mode. So we still have a little bit more room left before we can figure out the direction. As always, make sure you're playing relative strength and weakness. Don't push the bias, but just see what's moving and trade that accordingly. We'll be meeting again throughout the week, but then on Friday, we'll be doing a live session on the U.S. employment report. So till then, stay tuned, and we'll see you guys in the next update. Cheers.